you're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Coffee with Graeme on AETi Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme is brought to you by AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and TOVI Hockey. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Why is the background so different tonight? Well, here's a little story for you guys. My dad tested positive for COVID-19. He was isolating upstairs where I am right now, but the best place to isolate is downstairs in the room where I record all of my interviews and all of that. So for now, this is a bit of a different setup. Might try to make the background look a bit better. I know that this background isn't the most appealing thing in the world, but yeah, I didn't really know what to do in the short amount of time that I had to set this up. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting still tonight. I got a guest joining me on the show. It's Grace Glover, and Grace is the goaltender that ended up winning playoff MVP in the Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League. She went 9-1 in the postseason. That was her record. She had 2 shutouts, a .941 save percentage, a 156 goals against average, good enough to win playoff MVP. And this was her second season with this team, her first full season. She also ended up playing for Team Manitoba at the Western Regional Women's Provincial Championships back in November of 2021 in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. So a heck of a year for Grace on in terms of her achievements. AAA hockey champion, a playoff MVP as a goaltender, only in her second season and her first full season in this league. Very impressive. I'm going to have a chance to talk to Grace about all things Wildcats, about their playoff run tonight, her experience playing for Team Manitoba at the Western Regional Women's Provincial Championships, and some other things as well. So sit back, relax, enjoy tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme here on AETi Productions. And after the break, we bring on the first guest in tonight's episode, the only guest in tonight's episode, Grace Glover, here on Coffee with Graeme on AETi Productions. On this edition of Coffee with Graeme is number 1 of the championship squad for 2021-2022 Westman Wildcats goaltender playoff MVP, Grace Glover, joining the show on this Thursday night. Grace, great to have you on the show. I mean, the championship, it went down last Friday. I mean, just under a week ago it happened, but just looking back at it, I mean, must have been such a surreal feeling just being able to finish it off in your first full year with the team.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually saying to my teammates when we were on the blue line getting our medals, I was like, this is so surreal. I can't even believe this is happening right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, to come back after having a season taken away from you, your rookie year, to be able to finish your second year off with a championship must have been making things even more special, taking that into account.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you were spectacular in the playoffs. You ended up winning playoff MVP. You went 9-1 in the postseason. You had 2 shutouts, a .941 save percentage, 156 goals against average, good enough to win playoff MVP. I mean, just for you to step up in the biggest moments, talk about that, how huge that was for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't have done it without my teammates. You know, they were great in front of me, and I think that just gave me the confidence, you know, to do as well as I did, and putting in the time, you know, on extra ice times and stuff like that. Just, yeah.
Well, that extra work helped pay off. Back in November when you ended up playing on the Team Manitoba Western Regional Provincial Championships women team. Just talk about that experience, getting to represent your province in the biggest tournament of the year for that team.
Yeah, it was amazing. Got to meet a whole bunch of new girls, and I made new friendships and all that kind of stuff. So, it was just amazing to represent Manitoba and with all the nice people that I met too.
What was the biggest takeaway you had from that whole experience playing against the best of the best from provinces like Saskatchewan, Alberta, and BC?
I think just that, the next caliber of hockey is there, and that, I just met so many people during that week, and I have so many new friends now too, so that is just so nice to have.
Even though it was your second year technically in the league, it was technically your first full season, and this was a young Westman Wildcats team. You girls finished third in the regular season, finishing with a 17-8-2 record. One of the best defensive teams in the league, a team that put up 79 goals for. Just talk about that, being a younger team coming in, how you felt you girls handled it as the season went along, having that youth in terms of experience.
Yeah, for sure. So our coaches, they just had confidence in us right from the get-go. And our connections just grew stronger and stronger as the year went on. And I think from us having a shorter season last year, I think that also helped out too in ways, because we were all kind of in the same boat and had the same ideas. So, it was just, we had a great connection right from the start, and it just grew as the year went on, which got us to where we are.
Guy Williams had high praise for this team even before the season started, saying something like, just paraphrasing him, that no one would really expect the team to do as well as you guys really did. Just talk about that, having a coach that believes in a team that was as young as you girls were this season.
Yeah, I think just him having the confidence in us to do as well as we did, I think that just helped, because he pushed us to be better every practice, and we just set a new caliber, and he would get us those expectations each time. So
I spoke about the stats that you put up in the postseason, of course, to win playoff MVP. In the regular season, you were phenomenal as well. 12 wins, 4 losses, 2 of those wins being in extra time, 1 of those losses being in extra time as well. You had 1 shutout, a .933 save percentage, and a 1.84 goals against average. Talk about just the type of season you had, just the work you put in before it to come out and have this type of success you did in your first full year in the league.
Yeah, so I did lots of extra work with my goalie coach, Dan Averill. He really has got me to where I am today. I couldn't have done it without him. And I think just having the consistency throughout the season, that really helps to just bring confidence to the team and also to yourself.
Talk about what you felt, working with Dan, and just as the season went along, improved in your game as things went along in this 2021-2022 season.
I think that one thing that we were really trying to work on was playing the puck and being at the top of your crease. And I think just working on those things off in practices really helped my game, because getting out and setting the puck for the D, it can help our breakout, and just being at the top of my crease makes me look bigger than I am. I'm not that big, so
right. Use the tools you have to your advantage, and doing things like that, going out to play the puck. I mean, standing at the top of your crease shows a lot of confidence. I'm pretty sure you spoke about confidence as well this season and your success. Talk about, how truly huge that confidence was down the stretch, going into those biggest moments as well in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. I think just having that confidence really went from our goalie to our D to our forwards, just our whole team was so confident in ourselves that we made a mistake and we bounced right back. So it was just great to see.
Well, this team had its ups and downs this season, particularly at the end of the season, losing the last 5 out of 6 games, going up against a team in Central Plains who kind of came on at the end of the season, near the end of the season. How huge was that to win the first game like you girls did in that first series, 5-0 against a Central Plains team that you'd have to assume came in hungry to beat you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Just getting that first goal, it felt awesome. And I think after we scored our first goal, our confidence just kind of grew, and we were at our home barn with a packed barn. So like whenever we scored, there was a big crowd cheering for us, and whenever we dumped the puck out or dumped the puck in, it was just the crowd really like added to the whole feeling.
Yeah, and obviously in the playoffs, the crowd and level of noise intensifies, the game intensifies. This was your first taste of playoff hockey in this league. Talk about what that was like experiencing the playoff atmosphere like you girls did in Hartney in that game one for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. The crowds were amazing. They just kept getting bigger and bigger as the games went on. So just skating onto the ice and seeing that the stands were packed was just kind of overwhelming at first, but you get used to it and you use the crowd to boost your confidence and get our game going.
This Wildcats team was able to sweep this Central Plains Capitals team 3-0 in that best of 5 in round 1, setting up a pretty big semifinals matchup that you girls ended up losing your first game and only game in the playoffs into the Yellowhead Chiefs. You led in 4 goals on 23 shots in that game. Obviously a very confident Yellowhead Chiefs team coming in, but what was the message like in the dressing room after that game from the coaching staff, Guy Williams and the staff, to you girls?
I think it was just that we didn't play for a full 60 minutes that game, and I think that if we had have just played for the full 60 minutes and just buried our chances and stuff, it would have been a different game. But I think that we just realized that we have another level that we could play at, and we just needed to get there before the playoffs were over.
But it was a huge response in that next game in that series. You girls went out and won 3-0. You made 38 saves for your for a shutout, your second shutout of the postseason at that point. But just talk about that, being able to watch this team go out, backstopping them to a 3-0 win and respond the way you girls did in that game to tie it up in a critical game too at that point.
Yeah, I think we just came out a little more aggressive than we did in the first game. Like we came out in the first 5 minutes and we were just on our game. We were at home ice, and I think that really helped too. Didn't have a 2-hour-long drive to get there, and I think we just scored a first goal, and then we just, like I said before, we just went from there.
Take me through that crazy 3-2 extra time game. I forget, did that go to double OT?
Yes, it did.
Take me through that just whole experience of, playing in goal in that game and being able to come out with a huge win like that to go up 2-1 in the series.
Yeah, I think that really got us going for the rest of the series, that like double overtime doesn't get much better than that. So I think that just kind of boosted our confidence. Like I've said before, we just took it from there and got going.
Well, game number 4 was special in a way. Ashton Bell, 2022 Team Canada women's hockey team gold medalist at the Olympics, dropped the puck in the game for you girls. Just talk about how cool that experience was to see Ashton do that at the game, for her to be in attendance for that.
Yeah, it was awesome. She's so nice, and she's just like the most influential person I've probably met before. So it was pretty cool to see her there.
Yeah, former Wildcat and one of the all-time greats to wear a jersey. It was cool. She was able to be there in attendance for that. But finishing off Yellowhead, you girls had one more series to go. It was against the Winnipeg Ice, obviously a team with a lot of good weapons up front, a very balanced team, a team with a very good opponent that you girls went against. But being able to sweep them, just talk about what the mindset was heading into that series, coming off of a huge 4-game series win over the second best team in the league, the Yellowhead Chiefs. Had one more to finish it off. Just truly speak about what that mindset truly was.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, we just kind of set our bar to the next level going into that series after beating Yellowhead. We knew we had that next game that next step that we could take to play. So I think that just really helped us get the confidence and get ready to play the ice, because we're fairly matched team together. Like we're fairly similar in our rosters. So I think it was just like having that extra confidence, and we had a couple weeks off, so we had 5 practices before we got to play them. So I think that was really good for our game.
Well, the series was close in the first 2 games, 3-2. You girls won in the first game against them, 3-1 in game number 2. Coming back for game number 3 last Friday. at a packed Hartney barn. You talk about how crazy the atmosphere was in game one in the playoffs for you guys in that first series against Central Plains, but talk about what it was truly like playing in front of the crowd, the atmosphere that you girls did in that final game of the season.
Yeah, for sure. So I skated onto the ice, and it was pretty amazing to see. The stands were like packed. It was crazy. And we walked out, and our our pregame song was playing, and the fans were all screaming, and we had an air horn going, and it was just amazing to see everyone there that supports our team and our players. So
that's awesome. What was that pregame song?
I think it's called The Purge.
The Purge. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we play every home game.
Spooky stuff. But obviously working out for you girls. Being able to win the championship this year, obviously. But yeah, I mean, as that game went along, you girls ended up winning it 5-2. Talk about what emotions were running down, if you can remember them clearly, from just, seeing those zeros hit the clock, and you girls became champions of the 2021-2022 MFHL season.
Yeah, after the first period, we were kind of nervous. We knew we had another level to play at, and we were down 1-0, so we knew we had to come out in the second and really bring our game, because that might have been it, So we came out in the second, and we brought that next level, and then we just went from there. And in the third period, it was getting to be a close game, and we just emphasized on our chances. And after, when that clock hit zero, McKenna Beard and I, we just saw each other, and we were like, jumped in the air and hugged. It was awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. A special moment that I'm sure you and her will remember for forever, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
You end up winning playoff MVP. The final game, you made 26 out of 28 shots you faced, 26 saves out of 28 shots you faced. How surreal was that moment for yourself after the success you had after the season that you had to bring home playoff MVP to receive that on home ice?
Yeah, it was awesome. The crowd was so loud I could barely even hear what they were saying, but I got told to go up to the front, and it was just awesome to see. Yeah.
Preparing for regionals now. Of course, the season's not over. You girls have a chance to potentially qualify for the SO Cup, going up against the winner of the Regina Rebels and Notre Dame Hounds series in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, coming up later near the end of this month. Obviously, still got to wait for who the winner will be for that. But have you girls started preparing, or has it been just still, soaking in, taking in the championship that you guys took home?
Yeah, for sure. A bit of both. We're starting to practice again, so we're working on some different things and just working on getting ready for that next level of hockey, because we know it'll be probably even better than these games that we played in the playoffs.
What has it been pretty exciting just thinking that this team, after the success you girls had, could put everything from here is gold. You have a chance to potentially represent Manitoba going into the SO Cup. I mean, just having that on the mind, how cool is that to think about?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, for you girls, of course, a tough road ahead. Two quality teams that you could potentially play the winner out of both of them from the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. But for Grace Glover and the Wildcats, they have to sit and wait for right now to get prepared and get set to play against the winner of that league coming up later this month in April. Grace, thanks for taking the time. Congratulations to you and your team on winning the championship this season. And yeah, best of luck in the regionals coming up later this month against the winner from the Saskatchewan Female AAA League.
Thank you.
That was Grace Glover, number one goaltender on the championship Westman Wildcats for this 2021-2022 season, joining me on this Thursday night. And one other weird thing here tonight that is different is, for some reason, my screen isn't filling up the whole page here. It was not doing that earlier. In fact, this has never happened before, but it's just the way it goes, I guess. We'll just have to deal with it for tonight. And something you'll want to stick around and watch after is this episode's edition of League Report. I'll be taking a look at the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League, and the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League coming up next on this edition of Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this break.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions. Host Graeme Forsyth here from his kitchen this time around, rather than in his normal setup. Speaking in third person there, hoping to have the normal setup back by next week on Tuesday for the next edition of Coffee with Graeme on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time, but we'll have to wait and see. So welcome back to the show, everybody. Grace Glover just joined me on this edition of Coffee with Graeme to talk about her playoff run where she ended up winning playoff MVP. Also spoke to her briefly there at the end about just the upcoming regionals series that they'll be playing and win or lose that for Westman. This is a team with only 3 graduating players. They'll have Grace Glover back next season. And for a young team, just being able to win a championship this year and being able to compete against the best team coming out of Saskatchewan, which will be decided soon here. It will be. It's a great learning experience for this Westman Wildcats team, no matter what happens for sure. But it's time now for this edition of League Report, this episode's edition of League Report. We'll start off with the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. And in this league, game number 3 of their championship series, the championship series between Notre Dame and Regina, will be starting up in about 7 minutes here. As you can see, game 3 tonight, puck dropping at 7:30 p.m. at the Duncan McNeil Arena. That's 7:30 p.m. Saskatchewan time. So an hour ahead here in Winnipeg. Puck drops on that game in about 6 minutes at this point. Game number 4 will be played no matter what. Coming up this Sunday at 8 p.m. at the Cooperators Center. And depending on what happens, if this series does end up going to 5, it will be game 5 on Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Saskatchewan time at Duncan McNeil Arena. If this is it for the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League for their season coming up this weekend, let's take a look at the stats leaders heading into tonight. And highlighted here by Alexis Petford, leading all players in playoff scoring. She has 11 goals, 5 assists for 16 points in 10 games. In second, Greta Henderson, number 8 of the Regina Rebels with 13 points, 6 goals, 7 assists. Ali Gerard with 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points, placed in her third. Kira Buziak for the Saskatoon Stars ended up well, not ended up. She, at this point, finishes top 4 in points with 10 points in 7 games played for her playoffs. And same with Avery Barros. She is in the top 5 right now, tied actually with Ashley Grace of Regina. Barros with 3 games less played, of course, since her team was eliminated last round. And same amount of points there as Ashley Grace. But let's talk about the goaltenders now, the goaltending leaders here. And this is for the playoffs, so we'll go like that. Okay, the win leader right now in the league is Peyton Schlamp. She has a 6-2 record, 3 shutouts in her playoffs here so far, a .947 save percentage, and a 1.31 goals against average. Really impressive numbers from Peyton Schlamp there for Regina. Eva Filipova for Notre Dame, second in wins at this point with a 4-1 record. But depending on what happens in Notre Dame, this goaltender could end up tying Peyton Schlamp in wins by the end of the postseason, or at least get close. Tora Ward, or Aurora Van Wormer, and Carly Leonard all rounding out the top 5 for goaltenders in terms of wins right there. So let's move into the Manitoba Major Junior Hockey League now. And let's go back to Tuesday night. It was a game I was at. A very entertaining hockey game. It was, on April the 5th, this past Tuesday. It was the Pembina Valley Twisters going into Transcona Arena at Golding Arena in East End Arena in Transcona and beating the home team for that game in Game 5, the Transcona Railer Express, 3-1. It was 2-0 at one point, but then Riley Johnson for the Railer Express cut the lead to 2-1. And then Travis Penner for Pembina Valley able to put an empty netter into the net to give Pembina Valley the advantage in the series. Game number 6 going tomorrow at the Morris Multiplex, 8:15 p.m. will be the puck drop. And for the St. James Junior Canucks, well, they are off to the finals with a big 6-5 win yesterday over the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. St. James awaits the winner of the Twisters and Railer Express series. If the Railer Express are able to beat the Twisters tomorrow in Morris, if they can beat Pembina Valley, then game number 7 goes on Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. at Transcona Arena, at Golding Arena in East End Arena. I'll show you all the playoff leaders coming up for this league on next week on Tuesday morning's edition of the show. But let's hop in now into the Manitoba AAA Hockey U18 Hockey League. If we can find it here. All right, so going into the playoffs portion of the site here. In terms of the schedule, well, Game 1 has not even started yet for this finals series, but the wait is finally over tomorrow night. The first game of the Best of 5 Championship Series in the Manitoba AAA U18 Hockey League. Puck is set to drop tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time at J&G Homes Arena in Brandon, Manitoba. The number 1 seeded Brandon Wheat Kings taking on the number 2 seeded Winnipeg Wild. And game 1 goes tomorrow night. Game number 2 will go on Sunday here on League Report. Coming up on Tuesday's edition of Coffee with Graeme, we'll have reports for all of you guys on these 2 games that are happening this weekend. Game number 2 going this Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time at the Bell MTS Iceplex. You are in Winnipeg, or if you are in Brandon and want to watch some fantastic hockey, 2 of the best teams in the league, well, be sure to check out these games because they should be pretty entertaining. And then let's see, both of these teams, and bet on it, but it would be interesting to see, can one of these teams, because they're both undefeated, finish the playoffs on a perfect 9-0 run? Seems unlikely with how good, high-powered these teams are. but you never know what could happen. So yeah, I'll have the stats for you guys, of course, in these playoffs after the first two games of this series on Tuesday's edition of League Report. Coming up on Tuesday morning's edition of Coffee with Graeme. But it's time now to send it to one last commercial break here on this edition of the show. When we come back, I will be giving you guys some final words on tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. This marks the end of tonight's episode. I want to thank Grace Glover, Westman Wildcats goaltender, #1 playoff MVP, for coming on tonight's edition of the show and talking about her team's playoff run, their run to the championship. Of course, they'll be in action next in the regionals series against the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League winner coming up later this month. We'll have details for that on the show as things go along here. But also, folks, in terms of our 2022 hockey 2022 Western Canada Hockey Exposure Camp coverage here on the show. Next week here on Coffee with Graeme for Thursday, I'll have Seth Rock back on Seth's Inside Scoop for the first time in a very long time to start previewing some of the teams here in this tournament, as that will be the coverage for our Thursday night editions of the show for the 2022 Western Canada Hockey Exposure Camp. So stay tuned for that. Also, stay tuned for me and Cody Wall's coverage coming up next week on Tuesday morning on the show for the Western Canada Hockey Exposure Camp, as we start to dive into the players there that will be playing in this tournament coming up on May 6th to May 8th. But yeah, more news on that coming up next week here on the show, on the network. So yeah, want to give a special thanks to you, the viewer, for tuning into tonight's episode as well, and a special thanks to our sponsors in AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and TOVI Hockey for sponsoring another edition of the show. Coffee with Graeme, as I've mentioned before in this episode already, will be returning next week. This will be the latest installment, the newest installment of the show coming up next week on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Be sure to catch it on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, on our website at amateursports.tv or ASTV Productions. Type in either of those and it'll bring you to the same place, or on our Twitter at amateursportstv. Also, be sure to stay up to date with what the guest list will be, who will be coming on the show, on our social media platforms, on our Instagram at ASTV Productions, on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, and on our Twitter as well at Amateur Sports TV, coming up on Monday night before midnight at the latest is when the guest list will be released, when the promo will be released for the next edition of this show, Coffee with Graeme. But until then, folks, I've been your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, giving you the salute peace out on this Thursday night. Until next time, folks, when I see you next on Tuesday morning next week, have a wonderful rest of your Thursday night. Stay safe out there. Have a wonderful weekend as well. And until next week on Tuesday morning, folks, bright and early at 10 a.m. Central Daylight Time. I'll see you then. Take care, everybody.